Hey, this is Soldier7 here reporting for Right Wing Federation, and this video is going to be about the vice presidential debate of 2024, which just occurred recently in New York City on October 1st, and it was between Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Now, apparently this will just be a recap or a review on how I viewed the debate or so what. And yeah, I did watch the debate, and I'm just gonna go over certain things about it. And yeah, well, first of all, some people may say that this debate was a little less chaotic compared to the presidential debates that have occurred earlier this year between Trump and Biden and Trump and Kamala. Some people may say that in comparison, this debate was a little less chaotic, or it didn't get heated, when technically it did at some point, but it didn't get as heated, I guess you could say. But nevertheless, if that was something that you wanted out of debate, technically I guess you can say you got it or you were gonna get it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, it's always good to have a debate that's not too heated or so forth, like, in the old days. But anyway, yeah, well, times have changed, but if we can get debates like that again, great. Less heated, if so. But anyway, straight to the point, who do I think won the debate? I'm just going to say it, not from a biased perspective, but just from a basic perspective, which I'll get to in a bit. And the winner of the debate was J.D. Vance. And it seemed pretty clear to me that, yeah, he pretty much won the debate. I think he had the better answers to the questions. He even went after the moderators and so forth, which I'm also going to get to, which is, for example, kind of like the previous debate between Trump and Kamala. This at some times did feel like it was a 3-on-1, where the moderators seemed to be helping. Well, they seemed to have been attacking Vance and so forth, and which he countered with, the fact checking about his comments about the Haitian immigrants, which we saw, and also Walz, for the most part of the debate, he looked somewhat frustrated. I don't know if he was, before the debate, he was preparing, or the people helping him prepare for the debate, I don't know if they were counting on him to make Vance look young and inexperienced, but if that was the case, they counted wrong. And also you had certain questions that Tim Walz just seemed to be, well, when he was asked, a lot of his answers and some of the questions were just about attacking Donald Trump instead of just talking about the issues, or talking about the issues, but had to always bring up Donald Trump. And I think Vance also made the argument that Walz had a bit of a challenge for him when he had to defend Kamala's record, which I think that's one of the reasons why you can say that Vance won the debate, because it's not very good to defend Kamala's record, or it's not as easy because, well, I mean, even though she's been VP for 3 years now, I mean, that's second in command, but some of the powers that she's been given and so forth with immigration and so forth, the economy and so forth, well, why didn't she do it? And Vance did go on that, whereas Walz tried to make it all about Donald Trump, even though he's, well, presidential-wise, since January 20th of 2021, he's been out of the picture. So what was the point in bringing up Donald Trump in that regard? It makes no sense. Okay, and not only that, Walz was also asked about, well, he wasn't asked, technically, he was well, the moderators brought up that he claimed to have been in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989, but it turns out that he wasn't, and yeah, that did not make him look good. And then there was the part where he said, when they were talking about school shootings, he said he made friends with school shooters, even though technically I think that was by accident. I mean, my personal opinion, I think that was by accident, because like I said, from the looks of him, the way he was looking, the way he was staring and moving, he just looked frustrated, whereas that's what I think. Waltz, for the most part of the debate, just seemed like he was frustrated, whereas Vance, for the most part, stayed laid back and so forth. Even if some of the answers he gave weren't always good, but for the most part, I think he mostly gave good answers, especially when it came to the economy, especially when it came to immigration, especially when it came to international policies. I think that, he pretty much just destroyed Waltz in that regard. Where Waltz, like I said, he just came off as frustrated, didn't always give good answers, even though, he seemed to play more calm. I guess it didn't get as heated as some people anticipated. Like, I guess, people were anticipating loud, like, their voices to be raised and so forth on both sides, but currently it didn't really, even though Waltz did somewhat a little bit, but Vance only seemed to do that when he was telling the moderators about the Haitian immigrants, the comments that he made when he said, well, this is all about fact checking me, now let's fact check it. You saw that. So yeah, there was that. I think that the problem is, going back to immigration, Walt seemed to think that everything with immigration is going good. What's going on at the border, he says it's not a problem, or if it was, it seemed that he tried to make it out as if it was Donald Trump's problem, even though Donald Trump has not been president since January 20th, 2021. It's been Joe Biden and Kamala, who's been the VP, who's running for president, and she was even put in charge of the border czar, and she hasn't really done anything, or whatever she has done, it hasn't really worked. So you have that. And then with the economy, you've had, all these economic ideas, and Kamala's even advocating for what she calls counter price gouging, which could also mean price controls, which we saw technically in the 1970s, and it didn't work. If I'm not mistaken, we tried that in the 1970s with Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, but it ended with Ronald Reagan, but I'll probably get to that. I could probably get to that in another video, but nevertheless. It just seemed like, for the most part, that, Waltz pretty much in this debate seemed frustrated. So there's that. I think Vance was able to give better arguments when it came to the economy, immigration, and international policies, like what's going on with, the Middle East, which was mostly talked about in that regard. A little bit on Eastern Europe, although nothing was really mentioned about Taiwan, which probably should have been mentioned. But and some other things too that weren't related, like the port strike, or the port workers protest, the dock workers protesting, and so forth. Some of that could have been mentioned, and some other topics could have been mentioned. But but not to make this go on for too long. But I'd say the winner of the debate was J.D. Vance, and what I wanted to get to real quick is because even certain people in the media, the left-leaning media, were willing to admit that J.D. Vance came out on top, even if they didn't like it. So yes, the way I see it, the winner of the vice presidential debate of 2024 was J.D. Vance. And that's all I'm going to say. What are your takes on the debate? The comments are open. And that's all I'm going to say for right now. This is Soldier 7. Thanks for listening.